What's up, everybody? We are back. Yeah, guys, sorry about that. We were gonna do rounds 2 and 3 over on my dad's channel, well, our NFL East podcast channel yesterday, but I was feeling way too sick to even do anything. So sorry about that. First and foremost, want to say sorry for not going live yesterday. But we are here to break everything down. We are going to be taking a look at the first 2 rounds for you guys, telling you where everyone went. And then we're going to be breaking down who we thought went too early, who we thought should have went sooner, and all that stuff. And then we're going to be grading the team. So, Dad, do you want to go ahead and jump into this?
Yeah, sounds great, man.
What's up, Nick? And what's up? No, I'm probably not going to be live streaming on NFL Boy Games, Bills Mafia. All right. Anyways, let me share the screen real quick so you guys can see all of this. And I forgot off of this stupid shit, it might not let me share it. Oh, no, never mind. It does let me share it. Okay. So, okay, let me get the thing pulled up on my screen here. Dad, can you see what I'm sharing there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So with the first pick in the first round, the Carolina Panthers were where over 90% of the people, me, Dad, and Uncle Richard had. Bryce Young went first overall to the Carolina Panthers. Secondly, the Houston Texans. I knew they were blowing smoke, but a lot of people seemed Dad and Richard both didn't have this. But I had CJ Stroud going here, quarterback out of Ohio State. And then Houston actually traded back up 2-3 from Arizona and got Will Anderson Jr. I did not expect that, and I don't think anybody else did. Indianapolis got Anthony Richardson, which kind of threw my draft off because I took Will Levis here, and I'm pretty sure you did do, Dad.
Yes. Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. I told you leading up to the draft that I thought it was going to be Anthony Richardson,
Yeah.
but there in the last when I did my mock draft, I believe the hype and went with Will Levis. So.
Yeah. And then the Seattle Seahawks with number 5 from Denver took Devon Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois. Again, Dad, this one kind of threw me for a shock here because I knew Devon Witherspoon was going early in this draft, but I did not think he was going 5 to Seattle here.
I totally disagree. He's the best, in my opinion, the best corner in this draft. I knew he would go high. You are correct. I thought Seattle would take, the defensive lineman.
Yeah.
But especially, I mean, they hit on defensive backs last year in the draft. So it's really a surprise, but they wanted the best corner and they got him. So
Yeah.
there you go.
And then the Arizona Cardinals took Paris Johnson Jr. I think no surprise here. We've seen how awful that offensive line was last year, Dad. For Arizona, they had to get protection for Kyler Murray. He was scrambling over half the time last year.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome for Arizona to gain all of that draft capital by dropping down and still get a great offensive lineman. Pretty
Yeah.
cool. Good job.
All right, and then number 7, the Las Vegas Raiders take Tyron Wilson, edge out of Texas Tech. Again, I knew that he was going to go in the first round. I believe you also had him going in the first round, Dad, but I did not expect him to go inside the top 10.
Yeah, I had Tyree Wilson pretty high. I like him. He's the second best edge rusher in this group, and yeah, it might be a little bit of a stretch to have him in the top 10, but yeah, edge rushers, the trenches is what is what people do in the draft. It's smart moves. So, and he is a top notch player. So, out of Texas Tech.
All right, with number 8, the Atlanta Falcons take Bijan Robinson, running back out of Texas. This one did not surprise me at all, Dad. Before I started hearing the hype everywhere, I had him actually going 10 to the Philadelphia Eagles, but then reports started coming out that Atlanta could take a look at him, and I quickly changed from them taking a quarterback which is something very rarely we ever see Atlanta do. They never really take a quarterback to taking Bijan Robertson, who, you've argued all throughout this draft that he is by far the best player in this draft. And I'm going to go ahead and let you explain to the people why that is your argument.
Yeah, he's in the top 4 best players in this draft, and he shouldn't take a hit just because he's a running back. He's a running back. He's a great slot receiver. He's a great blocker. He has a full game, just a complete game. It does not surprise me at all him going inside the top 10. That's where I figured he would go. Was inside the top 10. Although in my mock draft I had him slipping because of the way the NFL treats the running back position and how it's lost its value. But it's good to see that they, that they understand that Bijan is really a lot more than just a running back. So good for them. Got them locked in. And there you go. Atlanta's running game is going to be scary this year. So they already had a good running game, and now they add this dynamic. And if they had a quarterback, I would really, possibly have them winning the South. But they don't have a quarterback, so I'm kind of, it's still up in the air.
I mean, to be fair, none of us know how good Desmond Reader is going to be because we didn't get a shot at seeing him.
So, that is true.
So. All right, and then Philadelphia sitting there at 9. They're like, hold up. You mean to tell me Jalen Carter started slipping? Dad, I know this is a dude that you were high on. This is the dude that you actually said was the best player coming out of the draft. Yeah. And once again, I'm going to turn it over to you to let you explain that to everyone. But my God, did the Philadelphia Eagles have themselves a draft?
Yeah. They were actually setting at 10, and they were scared. they were scared that he was getting ready to go, and couldn't believe that he dropped to them. They said enough, and they did what Philadelphia does in the draft, and that's get the best players available in the trenches. And they dominated this draft, especially the first couple rounds. So in my opinion, but yeah, Jalen Carter is blue chip. He does have a lot of off the field problems and stuff and drama. Philadelphia is well coached, and I believe that they can help him a lot. Their defense just, it's all of those old guys, really good older players on 1-year contracts. And so these young guys get to come in and play behind really good defensive players. But I don't see moving forward Philadelphia's defense losing anything just because they're going to be going younger, but they're going younger with blue chip players. And that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And I'm guessing one of those other blue chip players that you're talking about is a man by the name of Nolan Smith. Please explain to me how Philadelphia got Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the same damn draft. It's unbelievable to believe.
Well, the thing is the slip. If we can go ahead and, since we're talking about Philadelphia, all the way down to 30. Yeah. Nolan Smith fell all the way down to 30. I could not believe that he is one of the biggest surprises in the first round. I cannot believe he dropped out of the top 20. That's crazy to me. But yeah, just staying put and letting great defensive players fall to them, and once again worrying about the defensive line. So good for them. They won the first round by far with those two blue chip players. So.
All right, and at number 10, the Chicago Bears take Darnell Wright, offensive tackle out of Tennessee. This one is kind of a bit of shocker to me, but I mean, it really shouldn't be. My actual first offensive tackle that I had coming off the board was selected at number 11. I had Peter Skoronski coming off first, but Darnell Washington goes off, and Darnell Washington, man, he is really good. And again, this is
Darnell Wright. I
mean, Darnell Wright. Yeah, excuse me. Thank you, Dad. Darnell Wright is really, really good. And it actually makes a lot of sense that Chicago took a offensive tackle right here, because just like I was saying with the other team, with the Arizona Cardinals, who had to protect Kyler Murray, I feel like the Chicago Bears are in the same position, Dad. all year long last season. Justin Fields was back there running around for his life. So this is a great pick, in my opinion, for Chicago here.
I totally agree. I had Paris Johnson Jr., the best tackle in this draft, and Darnell Wright and Soronsky, Peter Soronsky, kind of two A and 2B. They were both just as good, and I could see them going in any order there at all. And it's good to see Chicago. Good job, Chicago. You had the first pick overall. You trade out of that pick because you say, no, we have our quarterback. And then your first pick of the draft is you protect that quarterback with a good offensive tackle of the future. So, yeah, I totally agree. Good job, Chicago.
And then with number 11, Tennessee Titans take Peter Skoronski, offensive tackle out of Northwestern. Again, this one doesn't really surprise me, Dad, but the thing is, when this pick happened last night, I said specifically to you and Rich, who's Peter Skoronski going to be blocking? Well, we may have got our answer as we scrolled on here to the round number 2. 33 overall. The Tennessee Titans take our boy, Dad, Will Levis, quarterback out of Kentucky.
Yeah, he's probably the biggest surprise. Hold on. He's probably the biggest surprise for me dropping out of the first round is Will Levis. You could see it on his face in the green room. He was pretty upset about that. The Tennessee Titans, I took a look. After the second round on Friday night, I dived in and I took a look at Ryan Tannehill's contract, and they can get out of his contract with very minimal cap hit next year. So I believe that, and I think that's good. And I think what's going to happen is Ryan Tannehill will be there this year. Will Levis will learn behind him, and sometime this year, maybe late in the year, depending on their record, those kind of things, probably take those reins over. And I say starting in 2024, Will Levis will probably be the starter in Tennessee.
Yeah, and I definitely think that too. All right, now let's revert back to number 11 here. The Tennessee Titans grabbing Peter Skoronski. Now that it made sense, Dad, for us, I think it's a good pick. You in the first round, you went and grabbed Peter Skoronski to get yourself some, offensive tackle help, whether that be Ryan Tannehill this year or Will Levis. But either way, I think it's a really good pick. You grabbed one of the best offensive tackles out of this year's draft. So
yeah, taken by a team that had the worst offensive line in the league last year. They need more than one guy on that line. They need multiple guys. But yeah, I mean, their star tackle they had for years leaves, and you replace them in the first draft. Good job, Tennessee. That's what you do, is work in the trenches when you need, they need offense and defensive line help. So there you go. I think Peter Skoronski will be very successful as an offensive tackle, a left tackle in this league. So it's good.
All right, so diving into number 12 now, the Detroit Lions take what could have been, Dad, the most shocking pick of last night at 12. They take Jahmyr Gibbs, running back out of Alabama. I don't know about you, Dad, but when this pick took place, I kept on seeing Ian Rappaport reporting that DeAndre Swift could have been traded. Well, that happened today. DeAndre Swift gets traded for a fifth. I think it was either a 5th round pick this year and a 3rd round pick next year, or a 3rd round pick this year and a 5th round pick next year. But either way, DeAndre Swift is the new starting running back for the Philadelphia Eagles, and Jahmyr Gibbs will be the starting running back for the Detroit Lions. So how are you feeling about both of those moves, Dad?
Well, I think with Swift, it's just the rich getting richer. I looked at that trade and I was like, oh my God, Philadelphia is just, they're killing it, man. They're killing it in draft picks and trades. And I mean, just it's going to be a lot to talk about, Philadelphia. Good job, Philadelphia. It's kind of crazy that they get Swift. Swift has a lot left in the tank. He's a really good running back. He was injured last year for part of the year, and but Swift is still a really good running back. This Gibbs pick, I think it's a bit of a stretch. I've seen him going in the first round, but I've seen him going at the end of the first round,
Yeah.
like in the 20s.
Yeah.
To take him as high as 12, I wouldn't. I think that's a bit of a stretch. And really, I mean, you're picking the second best running back in this draft, and you're going to hope he's as good as Swift. So you know what I'm saying? It's just a kind of a bit of a stretch to me. He could be better than Swift, and it pays off. But I think this is kind of too high of a pick for me. I love Gibbs going in the first round. I do not like him going in the top 15. So
I would totally agree with you there. All right, on to number 13, Green Bay Packers. It's questionable with this pick as well, Dad. You could say that this dude went a little bit too high. I think he did myself. I had him going in the first round, but not until towards the back half of the first round. The Green Bay Packers, no surprise here, Dad, doesn't get Jordan Love any help with all wide receivers on the board. They take Lucas Van Ness, edge out of Iowa.
yeah, I had him going in the first round. Once again, it was a guy that I had going in the 20s. I think this is a little bit high for him, like you said, Brandon. But it shouldn't be no surprise that Green Bay, that's what Green Bay did. So, they double up in tight ends in the next round. So, in the next couple rounds. So they get a little bit of help. But Lucas Van Ness, he's a great player, man. He's a great player. He's all over. You can rush him and he can drop back in coverage. So there you go. Good player, taken just a little bit too high, I think.
Yeah. All right, the Pittsburgh Steelers come up and they make a trade with the New England Patriots at 14, and they grab Broderick Jones, offensive tackle out of Georgia. Again, I think this is a great pick, Dad. This was right around the area where I had Broderick Jones going. I actually had him going at 17 with the original pick by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Um, but again, Broderick Jones, man, is a really, really good offensive tackle, and they definitely needed that last year, especially with Kenny Pickett back there now going into his second season.
Yeah, exactly. I throw him in that same category as the other teams. You have your young quarterback, your quarterback that you plan on being there for years. Go out, get the best offensive tackle you could get to protect his blind side, and that's what they did. Broderick Jones is going to be a great tackle, and yeah, they're taking care of their quarterback. Good job.
All right, number 15, the New York Jets. Again, Dad, you told me and Rich about this guy last night.
Thursday
But
night. Yep.
or yeah, Thursday night, my bad. You told us about this guy Thursday night, me and Rich. But I did not expect him to go this soon. 15, Will McDonald goes to the New York Jets. I'll let you talk about your guy here, Dad.
Yeah, Will McDonald he's just explosive coming off the edge. I watched some tape on him early in this process, and everybody's saying that he's a late first, early second kind of grade. I watched the tape and I couldn't see it. I said he's straight up first round. He's going in the top 20 is what I said, and that's that. And the Jets, they a lot of people are calling this a bit of a stretch. They needed some depth and some young guys to develop, but Will McDonald can also be moved around. He could be that linebacker that works the edge or falls. He can play multiple positions. I love this pick. I do not love it because it's for the Jets, and I'm a Will McDonald fan. I
Yeah.
want him to be successful, but I can mind not rooting for him twice a year when they're playing the Dolphins. So I hope he has bad games, but the rest of
Yeah.
the games, there you go. But it's not surprising at all to see him go in the top 20. That's where I had him rated. So
Okay. Do you think he'll be a day one starter for the Jets?
I don't know that they didn't really need a starter. They need rotational pieces. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, he will play. He won't start, but he will rotate in. He'll be in on certain packages. They'll put blitz plays together for him. They'll drag everybody to one side, try to shift that offensive line, and then bring him around the edge.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. He can beat just about anybody one-on-one. So, I mean, and you're going to have to get some help, and you have to get your running back or tight end to help out a little bit over there if you got Will McDonald coming untouched on the side. So, it's going to be pretty interesting. I don't think he's going to start. I think he's a future piece, but he will have special packages that he comes in for.
All right, at 16, the Washington Commanders. Again, I think this was another overstretch, Dad. Emmanuel Forbes is good, but I didn't have him going until like the back half of the first round. I think I had him at like 22nd, 23rd, somewhere's in there. I can't remember exactly where, but the Washington Commanders apparently liked what they seen, and they take Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback out of Mississippi State, here at 16, Dad.
Yeah, they have him a lot higher than I had him. I had Witherspoon, Gonzalez, both above him. So it's kind of surprising to see, especially to see him go right before Gonzalez. Washington, they must have just had him a little bit higher on the board. Gonzalez is still here on the board, and if you want the best cornerback, you should have took the best cornerback. They didn't, and he fell one more spot, but. In their eyes, they did. They might have seen something. Who knows, man? I mean, this is all a crapshoot anyway. But these are the top three guys, and it's good to see all three of them go in the first round. So, but yeah, me too. Emmanuel Forbes, I had going at the end of this round or the very beginning of the next round.
Yeah,
that's when I had him going about right there with Joey Porter Jr. So is where I had him and Joey Porter Jr. kind of together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just surprising that he went this high, but Washington must have seen something that no one else did. So there you go.
Yeah. And speaking of Christian Gonzalez, how about New England Patriots? My New England Patriots fall all the way to 17 in a trade with Pittsburgh, and we still get, in my opinion, the best cornerback out of this draft, Dad. We take Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon.
Yeah, that's what I just said. I believe he's the second best quarterback behind Witherspoon. Good job, New England. That's very Bill Belichickian to drop back and still get a great cornerback. So he possibly could become the best cornerback in this draft, only because he's going to a team that is well known and established for developing cornerbacks. They have great defensive coaches in New England, and he's by far going to be getting the best coaching out of the three corners that went here in the first round. So
I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. Christian Gonzalez put up numbers last year like Sauce Gardner did.
Okay.
I'm saying that right now. No, that's just honestly hope. But if you watch his tape, this man does look like he could do that. He's tall, he's lean, he's stocky. He will fight you for the ball. He'll jump in front of you. He will stalk you down and rip the ball out of your hands and shit. You probably know all that, Dad, because you've watched tape on him. But Christian Gonzalez is really, really good.
Yeah, he's a good player.
All right, at number 18, the Detroit Lions take Jack Campbell, linebacker out of Iowa. Again, I feel like this one is a reach. That I had Jack Campbell going out the back half of the first round. You didn't even have him going in the first round.
No, this is a straight up second round player. He's top 10 in the second round is where he should have went. This is a huge stretch for Detroit. It'll be interesting to see, maybe he does develop into something. But yeah, no, this is you still got Clancy, you still got Nolan Smith is still on the board here. Why in the hell are you not taking the best player available? It's crazy. Miles Murphy's still on the board. Yeah, this is just a huge reach. It's kind of ridiculous to see. But he might, these Iowa boys, man, they're badass and showing up all over the NFL. So there you go. We'll see.
Yeah, and I watched tape on Jack Campbell, and he looked great coming out of Iowa. Don't get me wrong. I really, really liked what I seen from him in his tape, but was it good enough to be this high? Nah. I think I had him going out the back half of the first round. I think at like 27, 28, somewhere's in there, back half of the first round, beginning of the second, somewhere's like that. But yeah, I definitely think this is an overreach. And I mean, we figured out why they took him here at 18. It's because Dan Campbell, Jack Campbell, he liked his last name, shit like that. All right, number 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take the dude that you was just talking about, Dad, Kancey, defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Kalijah Campbell or Kalijah Kancey. He's a beast. He's a big boy on the line. He'll play. Tampa Bay is a little bit older in that position and needs some younger guys, and it's great. He's going to be playing with a great defensive line as these guys get older and retire and move on. He will be. He's a beast. He's a big boy, and he will. He's going to do great as a defensive tackle. So
I 100% agree with you. I didn't watch too much tape on this guy, but right before the draft, I think about a week or two before, I kept on hearing you speak his name and all that. And I was like, who is this guy? So I looked up tape and I sure figured out what the hell you was talking about, Dad. Yeah, he is a big, tall, I think he's like what 6'3", 6'4", something like that.
He's 6'1", 281 pounds.
Yeah, he's pretty tall and
huge arm length,
physical. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen his tape, Dad, but you better have two people blocking this, man.
Yeah, definitely.
One-on-ones, he was breaking through those like it was nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Your guys are going to need some help on that offensive line.
Yeah.
He is a beast. Played for Pittsburgh, but he is from Miami, Florida. So there you go.
That's pretty cool. Well, yeah. all I got to say, and I just realized this once we started talking about Tampa, I feel sorry for the people in the NFC South that have to play them twice a year, because not only do they have Kancey now, but on the other side, they got a man by the name of Via Veda.
Yeah.
And that's about to be a scary ass tandem.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be a really good along that defensive line. So
yeah.
Pretty cool.
All right, from 20 to 22, from 20 to 23, Dad, we see a string of wide receivers going off the board here. And at 20, the Seattle Seahawks grab in my opinion, the best wide receiver out of this class. They get Jackson Smith and Nigba, wide receiver out of Ohio State. And wow, my God, Dad, what a tandem this is going to be. Jackson Smith and Nigba. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, it's a great receiver core, but Seattle is so smart. Their coaching is so good, and in this first round, they just put together pieces, and they're like, this is an offensive league. It's turned in. What they did was they took the best cornerback in the draft, and then they turned around and got the best wide receiver in the draft. They said, we're going to be able to throw the ball. We need somebody to throw the ball to, and we need somebody who can protect the throw. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's so smart. Their coaching is so good up in Seattle, and once again killed the draft. Took the best wide receiver. The rest of them went a little bit out of order for me, but it's the big body type compared to the smaller guys. Yeah. So, but I like this. This is going to be a great wide receiver core there in Seattle. That room is going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you there. All right, at 21, what you was just talking about, Dad, the Los Angeles Chargers. I was thinking we knew that they were going to take a wide receiver because they needed wide receiver help. But I was thinking it was going to be someone like Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison. But it ends up being Quentin Johnston, wide receiver out of TCU. This does not surprise me at all. Quentin Johnston is a great wide receiver. Now, the only reason I don't understand the pick, and I kind of told you this yesterday, Dad, the reason why I kind of don't get the pick is because Quentin Johnston isn't fast. He's not fast. He won't shake your shoes off. He's great at running routes. And he's great at catching 50-50 balls. But that's it. And in their lineup, they already have a man by the name of Mike Williams that does everything Quentin Johnston does. So I don't understand this pick.
Yeah, I don't understand the pick either. He's too much like They're too similar, but they wanted a big body receiver. That's what they wanted, because otherwise you can't justify taking this pick. But Quentin Johnson is by far the biggest out of these four.
Yeah.
If I was them, I would have took Zay Flowers in this spot because Zay Flowers is a lot smaller, but he's more versatile. He's going to be able to play the outside or inside. Quentin Johnston is going to be the outside. I guess they're going to line him up on the other side of the field, from Mike Williams, and they're going to have Mike on one side, Johnston on the other. So there you go. I guess
and
that's
then
what they're
where
going to do.
the hell are you playing Keenan Allen at?
Keenan Allen will take over the slot. So
yeah, that's true.
And there you go. You got you pretty good, trio there. So and some pretty good weapons for their young quarterback. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I love the next pick. Next pick's probably my favorite pick in the first round.
Yeah, I love this pick as well. And let me tell you why I love this pick, Dad. Okay. First of all, let me get to the pick. 22, the Baltimore Ravens take Zay Flowers, wide receiver out of Boston College. And the reason why I love this pick, Dad, is because, you sign your quarterback, finally sign your quarterback to a big time contract, give him a 5-year, $260 million contract extension. And then you're like, oh, yeah, by the way, here you go. Have Odell Beckham Jr. And then not only that, get him a dude to line up on the outside of Odell, and that being Zay Flowers. Wow, what a quarterback tandem we are about to see in Baltimore as well next season.
Right. I think Zay Flowers is going to benefit tremendously of having OBJ because people are, you're going to have to do something to stop OBJ. He's older and is coming off injuries, but he was still beat most people one-on-one. So you're going to have to pick your poison. And it's what Baltimore has been lacking, man. Baltimore has always been a great running team, always has a good defense, but never, I believe they have never gave their quarterback the weapons he deserves and allowed him to become to throw the ball around the field. Well, you don't have any excuses this year, Baltimore. You're putting yourself together a pretty nice little wide receiver core there. So I like it for Baltimore. I hate it for the AFC.
Yeah, and I feel the same way as you, Dad. And I was telling you, one of the other scary things is when Odell's healthy on the field, he's a top 5, top 10 quarterback in this. Wide receiver in this league. And Odell's kind of like he's getting up there in age, Dad, like you was talking about, but he's still fast, and that's what scares me about this tandem in Baltimore now. Is Odell is fast. Odell will catch the ball. He's great at running routes. He's great at catching 50-50 balls. He's also fast. You got to get his hands on him quickly. Zay Flowers is the same fucking way, except for he's younger than Odell.
And smaller.
And he's smaller, but he's great at running routes. He's great at catching the balls. I don't know about 50-50 balls. I wouldn't say that exactly. But my point is like, if you're not within a feet or two of him, he's taking that to the house. And that's what kind of scares me about the tandem in Baltimore this year.
Right. Yo, what's up, Nick? I just seen you said hi. There you go.
All right. So at 23 now, the Minnesota Vikings was trying to bait us in, Dad, at telling us that they didn't believe in Kirk Cousins or whatnot, and they not necessarily didn't believe in him, but they wanted out of the contract with him, and they were making it seem like they were going to take a quarterback here. Well, they had their option at Will Levis, and they decided, we're going Jordan Addison here, wide receiver, USC. Wow. Oh, my God. Let me tell you something, Dad. You get rid of Adam Thielen and add Jordan Addison on. I think Jordan Addison has the potential to be another Adam Thielen. He might even be a little bit better than that. And you're pairing someone up with already the best wide receiver in the league in Justin Jefferson. And now you got Jordan Addison on the other side of the field of that. Wow, this is once again, this is going to be another badass wide receiver tandem.
Yeah, you had to replace Thielen, and you did it. And you did it with Jordan Addison. I think it's great. Yeah, I think he will have a good year and enjoy a lot of one-on-ones because teams are scared of the other side.
Yeah.
They're extremely scared of, the guy who led the league in yardage. So there you
Yeah,
go.
I 100% agree with that. And Jordan Addison is going to get his own, but we already know about Justin Jefferson. He's going to get his own too, Dad. They double teamed his ass all last season, and the man still led the entire National Football League in receptions and yards. You know
Right.
that shit's probably going to happen again this year.
Yep.
All
Totally
right,
agree.
New York Giants select at 24, Dad. I think had we not seen a streak of wide receivers going there, we could have seen a wide receiver be taken here. But unfortunately, almost all the wide receivers were already taken off the board. So New York said, screw it. We'll take the best player left on the board. And they take Deontay Banks, cornerback out of Maryland. And I don't know about you, Dad, but I watched tape on Deontay Banks here, and he's really good.
Yeah, I totally agree. He at this time, I love this pick. Mainly because of what you just said with the wide receivers running out of wide receivers right before them. Um, Cornerback is a huge need for New York football Giants, and that's what they needed was wide receiver and cornerback. They're like, okay, cool. You took all the wide receivers. We'll take the next best player up, and it matches our need. It matches a huge need in cornerback, and then they turn around, and get the next best wide receiver just a little bit later in round two.
Yeah.
So
All right. I fit at 25, the Buffalo Bills. And I don't know if they did this out of spite here, Dad, because the Dallas Cowboys was up next or whatnot. But this pick really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The Buffalo Bills take a tight end Dalton Kincaid out of Utah. I mean, what else is there to say about Dalton Kincaid outside of he's the full package tight end? He's great at blocking. He's great at catching. He's great at doing everything a tight end does. You very rarely see a full package tight end like that. But the reason why this confuses me is because Buffalo already has a full package tight end. Fucking Dalton Knox does the same shit. He's great at blocking. He's great at catching. He does all of that already. So I don't get this pick. I think it was just out of spite of them not wanting the Cowboys to have what they wanted here.
yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I could see that them not letting, but in my opinion, um, I would have went defense if I would have been them and took Nolan Smith in this spot, but they wanted to stay on the offense and create some kind of another weapon for for Josh Allen, and they that's what they did. They took the
Yeah,
next best pass catcher on the board. That's what they did.
yeah,
He's better than the next wide receivers that come up. He's the best pass catching tight end, and so there you go. That's what they did. They stuck with it. It is kind of weird, and now they got two really good. But we've seen AFC East teams and like in New England come out with two top-notch tight ends,
yeah,
line them up at the same time, and that's actually going to be kind of scary. So
yeah. See. My thing is that is most of the time when you see a two tandem wide receiver, I mean a two tandem tight end group, mostly one of them is really good at blocking, one of them is really good at catching. The last time I think we ever had a two tandem tight end that was good at doing both was when New England got Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski on the same field together.
that's what I'm referring to.
And
That's
we
what I'm.
know how
They're
that turned
two.
out. So just
Yeah,
imagine if that happens in Buffalo with Dalton Kincaid and Dalton Knox.
that's what I was referring to. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
So
kind of scary to think about.
yep.
All right. So at 26, the Dallas Cowboys take Maz. I have no idea.
Mazzy Smith.
Mazzy Smith, defensive
Mhm.
tackle out of Michigan. I mean, again, this pick didn't really make a lot of sense to me, especially with you having Michael Mayer sitting there in their back pocket. But I guess they decided not to go with that there. I don't really know too much about Smith. I didn't even have him going in the first round. Maybe you know more, Dad.
No, I didn't have him going in the first round either. Rich had him going high, the highest I seen him go, and he had him going at 31. I had him going the very top of the next round. The Dallas Cowboys, not only the Dallas Cowboys, obviously quite a few teams were not as high on Michael Mayer as the media was, and they pumped him up. I think they pumped him up a little bit too much, and these guys met with him and it did not like him. If Dallas would have liked him, Dallas would have took him right here. The truth is that Dallas wanted Dalton Kincaid. Buffalo took him, and their next tight end that was up was not worth a first round. It wasn't a first round quality. It was would have been taken in the next round. So and he went a little bit early before Dallas, but there you go. I mean, this is the next big man. You know what I'm saying? This is the big man. You could have took an edge if you would have with Nolan Smith, but surprisingly, Nolan Smith continued to fall. They could have took Antonio Harrison, who's offensive lineman, and those were the couple needs: offensive lineman, defensive line, offensive line, and tight end were the needs for Dallas at this time. But I think, between these guys, Smith and Harrison, both of them are edge first round, into first round, beginning of second round type of players. You just go with what line you want to, boast up first. And that's what they did. They took the big guy, the most athletic of the bunch. So,
yeah. And I definitely agree with that. All right. So Jacksonville Jaguars at 27 take Anthony Harrison, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma here, Dad. And I feel like this was a great pick at 27. I don't know about you. I feel like all through last season, we already knew that Jacksonville had a trash ass offensive line, but you really seen how bad their offensive line was as they got deeper and deeper into this playoff race in here. And my God, did Trevor Lawrence have to make scrambling plays to keep plays alive? And this is a great pick because this definitely gets help for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, I had both of these guys, Smith and Harrison, going at the very top of the second round. So the late 20s like this, that's not, if that's what you need, then take them. These are the next best one up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're taking them about 5 spots too high, but it's only 5 spots and you got a great offensive lineman. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what they need. Their offensive line is garbage. And to get a good offensive tackle in the first round, there you go. You can lock them in, long term. So there you go.
Yeah.
Hopefully he comes out and is good.
Yeah. All right. Number 28, the Cincinnati Bengals do what they've been doing as of late and get a really good player in taking Myles Murphy, edge out of Clemson. I don't know about you, Dad, here, but this is a steal. I actually had Myles Murphy, I think, going in the top 15, and he falls all the way to the 28 to the Bengals out of all spots, falls to the Bengals here. I don't know if you watch tape, Dad, but Myles Murphy, my God, this man can almost beat any people that you have on him. So, again, you're probably going to have to double team this man, and otherwise he will wreck your quarterback every single time. I really like Myles Murphy here a lot.
I don't have too much to say. I really like Myles Murphy. Also, I had Myles Murphy going 28th to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, really?
On my mock draft. Yeah, this was one of the points I got. So,
all right, number 29, the New Orleans Saints take Brian Brees, defensive tackle out of Clemson.
This is the biggest stretch of the first round.
Yeah. I kind of watched tape on this man. But again, I thought he was going middle to end second round here. I don't know. Dad, what do you got to say here?
I think the New Orleans Saints is one of the craziest teams. I would fire my GM immediately. They took a mid-second round guy right before Nolan Smith. How could you have a top 15 prospect and you're going to take a mid-second round prospect over him? No, and if I was the New Orleans Saints, I would have been extremely um, excited about Nolan Smith falling all the way to 29 and
Yeah.
ran my card up there.
Yeah.
Instead, they took they're they're taking a flyer on a big man. On a defensive tackle instead of Nolan Smith on the edge. So I think it's crazy, but that's what they did. They went with the bigger guy. So there you go. To me, this is the biggest reach of the first round. I did not have, because this guy wasn't a first round, second round fringe guy. He was a mid to late second round guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is a huge stretch. But there you go. And the still of the draft is next. So.
Yeah. And Dad's talking about the pick right here at 30, Philadelphia Eagles. Look at it, and they went, Jalen Carter's still there at 7, or at 9, or wherever the hell they picked. And then they do the same thing here, Dad. They're like, what the hell? We stay put this time, and here's our other guy. We'll take Nolan Smith, edge out of Georgia. Yeah, this pick right here, Dad, was surprising to me. I think I had Nolan Smith going anywhere between 10 and 15, and I was dead for sure that there was no way that he was going to make it out of 10 to 15. This man falls all the way to 30 and gets snagged by Philadelphia. When the offseason started, I was saying to myself, Dad, and I don't know if this was you, but when the offseason first started, I was looking at myself and going, wow, the Philadelphia Eagles have a lot to make up for on defense. They did that in the first round by grabbing 2 of the best defensive players out of this draft.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the best defense of last year, and during the offseason, they've lost a couple players, re-signed a few players. They got some really great older veterans on 1-year deals. And all they did in this draft is pick the people that's going to be taking over for those veterans after this 1 year. And these guys get to learn under those top-notch veterans for a whole year. And they're not done here. They got another one. They got another Georgia Bulldog cornerback. So in the next couple rounds. So I mean, it's crazy,
let's not forget. I don't know what the hell was going on with Roy Hausman, or whatever the hell his name is, the GM for the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know what the hell was going on with him, but he must have been smoking some Georgia crack or something, because he took Jalen Smith. He took Nolan Smith. You just said they got another Georgia Bulldog. And don't forget, where did DeAndre Swift come from, Dad? Georgia as well.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Kind of crazy that he went on a Georgia frenzy there. All right. So at 31, Kansas City Chiefs here, Dad. At this point, I don't know too much about this guy. I did hear that he was probably going to go somewhere in the second round, maybe beginning a third round. But at this point, I feel like Kansas City, this isn't a reach for them, because Kansas City is a overall already full stack team. This guy isn't even going to see the field this year, and he's probably going to come away with a ring. Depending on how good Patrick Mahomes and them are. But like, knowing Patrick Mahomes, already the greatest quarterback of all, in the league, and all that. Wow, man, this guy's not even going to have to see the field this year and might even win a ring. So.
Yeah, this is a great depth piece. They're thinking about the future here, and you can do that when you have the very last pick in the first round is basically a second round pick, and this is a high second round guy. There you go. They're just thinking about the future. He's big, he's dynamic, so pretty cool.
Yep. All right, and on to the second round. We're gonna go.
We can fly through a lot of these, but let's only talk about the ones that were weird that they're still there, or if we think they shouldn't have went. It starts off really weird because these guys are first round talents. So
yeah, and it definitely does. And I want to talk about this one for sure with you, Dad. I want to get your opinion on this one because I kind of called this. But we were kind of doing a mock in our in our on our podcast channel, and or something. We was doing something, and I remember mentioning this pick to you, and I said, "What if Joey Porter Jr. goes here to Pittsburgh?" And you said, "Don't jinx that on that man. Don't put that pressure on him. His father played here." Well, guess what, Dad? He goes to Pittsburgh after all. Is he going to live in his father's shoes?
Well, his daddy played a whole totally different position. His dad was a linebacker. His dad was twice his size, and his dad was mean, like mean, extremely mean. He would tear people up. Um, uh, I'm kind of surprised. I'm not really surprised. I mean, four corners win in the first round. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
Joey Porter was probably the fourth best. Only one of them was he was probably the fourth cornerback in this draft. That's why I thought he would go in the first round, because I
yeah,
projected four of them going in the first round.
yeah,
But they took what we just talked about. They took a stretch on him and thought he was a little bit better than Joey Porter. Joey Porter, that's why he's first off the board, because he's by
yeah,
far the next best person. I mean, maybe outside of Will Levis, but if the team doesn't need a quarterback, then they're going to pick the next best player on the board.
yeah.
I love that he got to go where his daddy goes, where his daddy played. It's really cool, and I think it's good. I think he's going to be a cornerstone, and be able to be a part of a great defense in Pittsburgh. So that's pretty cool. Good job. Good
Yeah.
job, Pittsburgh. So
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you. I thought honestly, I thought the same thing as you, Dad. I thought Joey Porter Jr. was going to go in the first round. Apparently, Washington liked Emmanuel Forbes or whatever more than they did Joey Porter Jr. But I'm really glad to see him go here at Pittsburgh as well. I know his father's probably proud of him as well. Get to play where he played as well, so that probably means a lot to his dad. And I'm going to be really excited to see what Joey Porter Jr. can do this year with Pittsburgh. And don't forget, Dad, this was a need for Pittsburgh as well. They needed a cornerback, and I feel
it's
like they
true.
got a really, really good one here in Joey Porter Jr. So,
Yeah, they needed offensive line and cornerback. That was where
yeah,
their two positions they need. So they got them both in the first and second round. So that's pretty awesome.
yep. All right, at 33, we talked about this one a little bit already, Dad, but Tennessee grabs the only quarterback that we had going in the first round that kind of took a dip, and that's Will Levis, quarterback out of Kentucky. I liked Will Levis, Dad. I feel like he was. I feel like that I heard reports all week long leading up to this draft that if there was going to be any quarterback that was going to slip, it was going to be Will Levis. And I told you and Rich that Thursday night, right before the draft started, I told you all that if any quarterback was going to slip, it was probably going to be Will Levis, because that's all I kept on hearing. And here he goes slipping, and he goes to Tennessee at 33. Will Levis, Dad, I didn't even have to watch tape on him because we love our Kentucky Wildcats and we watched him all season long. This man has a strong arm, but he's not a very accurate. He's going to have to learn those traits and everything. But I feel like he does have all the needs that you need to be a NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I totally agree. He had a lot better in his college year. He had a lot better 2021 season than he did a
Yeah.
2022 season. But of course, we know that Kentucky was a lot more talented in
Yeah.
2021. Also, they had a much better team. He
Yeah.
also played through injury. But now that he fell, and once this was over, all the reports came out. It was his interviewing. He bombed on interviews, turned a lot of teams away. I don't know why. None of the reports went into details, but a lot of the teams that interviewed him, it came out that they were that part of his process of the whole process of the draft did not. That was the part that did not go good and that people liked. I don't know. So I don't know what it is. He did throw a lot of interceptions. He's a bit of a gunslinger.
Yeah.
He's a poor man's Josh Allen. So if he gets some great coaching, he could do that. But he's going to a defensive minded head coach. So it kind of sucks. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. hopefully he, gets it together there. And I'm glad he's going to a team that doesn't need him to start right away. I think that's
Yeah.
going to help him. So that I think is a good thing. So yeah, I want nothing but success for that Wildcat. So there
Yeah.
you go.
And same here. And this one kind of shocked me, Dad, here. I don't know if Detroit just had like a different reading book somewheres, or if if they were just doing things their way. But at 34, they take Sam Laporta, a tight end out of Iowa. That one's kind of shocking to me because Michael Mayers was here.
Two
I thought,
totally different tight ends. Two totally. I like Laporta better. Sam Laporta is actually the reason why Dallas didn't take Michael Mayer. They wanted Sam Laporta, but couldn't justify him going in the first round. And
yeah,
couldn't justify him going in the first round. The difference is Sam Laporta is he's a blocker. He's a full all around tight end. He's a blocker and a receiver.
yeah,
Michael Mayer is basically like a Mike Gesicki. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? He's nothing but a pass catcher. You're not going to put him in there to block because he's going to get his ass ran over. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So that's the difference. And Detroit had that, traded that away, and wanted a little bit tougher tight end, and got one. So there you
Yeah.
go.
And Gus, Dad, as you can see up here on the screen, Gus says, "Does Will turn in to be the Ryan Leaf of 2023?"
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Gus. Yes.
All right. Well, Detroit got Sam Laporta, Dad, to replace TJ Hawkinson. You said he's great at blocking, not great at catching that much. So I guess we'll see how that
No,
works
Sam
out.
Laporta is good at both.
Oh, he's good at both?
Yeah, he's great at both. So he's the second best all around tight end in this draft. Like he
Yeah.
can do both really good. So where Michael Mayer is a better pass catcher, but
Yeah.
nowhere near as good a blocker. So
All right. And then the Las Vegas Raiders say, well, we just traded away our tight end as well. And
yeah, the one they traded away, the tight end they
yeah,
traded away could catch the ball. He can't block. So
yeah,
all they did was replace him with the exact same guy.
yeah,
So that's pretty awesome for
yeah.
them. That's exactly
And
what
they
they
take
use. So
Michael Mayer here, tight end out of Notre Dame. I really like what I've seen from this guy, Dad. I had Michael Mayer as my second ranked tight end coming in behind Dalton Kincaid. And I think all of us did, but I certainly had him going in the first round. I thought he was going to get nowheres below 15 to 20, maybe a little bit outside of the 20 range, but I didn't have him falling very much lower than that. And he slips all the way into the second round at 35 here to the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think this is going to be a good pickup. And we know how much Jimmy Garoppolo likes his tight ends.
yeah, yeah. I think it's really good pick. That's what they wanted. That's what they play with as a pass catching tight end. And you got probably the best pass catching tight end in the draft. So that's great pick.
Yeah.
I said we run through the next ones. I'll stop you if I want to say anything.
All right. Well, I got one dude that I want to talk about right here. At 39, the Carolina Panthers take Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. Dad, I don't know about you, but like I was telling you, when I was on Twitter one day, this dude that I follow that reports Patriots stuff sat there and said, "Oh well, if the Patriots don't take one of the top wide receivers, we could fall back and get two second round wide receivers." And I was like, oh well, if we don't get one of the top ones, then we don't need anybody at all. My other friend reported, well, hey man, go watch some tape on Jonathan Mingo. I did that. Wow, this man is impressive. He makes great one-handed catches. He's really fast. I don't know if he would be great at running the routes, but this is a really good pickup to go along with Bryce Young there at 39. I feel like this is a really good pick for Carolina here.
Yeah, me too. I like Mingo. A SEC boy. I watched him play a lot, watching Kentucky games, and watching the SEC. I agree with you there. The one right before that at 38, Matthew Bergeron.
Yeah.
I watched tape on this guy because when this whole draft process started, he was projected. He's about the 50th best player. And of course, my Miami Dolphins were picking at 51. So I wanted them to take an offensive lineman. I watched tape on this guy, and I don't watch a lot of Syracuse, but this dude is a 5-position player. He can play either tackle, either guard, or center. And I watched tape on him one time and I was like, he is not going to be around at 50. He's going way before 50. I guarantee you that. I knew for a fact he would because, we're at this time, he's the best offensive tackle on the board, and he doesn't need to transition he's going to be that guy that can play any position. You can just move him up and down the offensive line as your offensive line gets hurt. That's a great pickup, especially because they're coming in with a young quarterback in Atlanta. So I think that was a great pick. The next pick I really liked was you said in the first round, Green Bay did not get their young quarterback any help, and that's where I said, yeah, they did, but it was in the second round. Luke Musgrave. Yeah. Luke Musgrave is a great pass catching tight end. And I think he could be, I think he will be, that safety net for Love. Taking over the quarterback position in Green Bay. Luke Musgrave will be able to find that open spot, you know what I'm saying, and be that safety valve for him. I love this pick right here.
Well, the two picks I want to talk about is right here that I see is at 40, New Orleans Saints take Isaiah Foskey. I don't know about you all, but I think I had Isaiah Foskey going at the back half of the first round, beginning of the second round. He falls all the way down to 40, and the New Orleans Saints grab him, and he's an edge rusher out of Notre Dame, Dad. Again, just like we've been talking about pretty much all night with all these edge rushers, man, this is another dude that you're going to have to double team here. Isaiah Foskey is really good at breaking out of one-person tackles. He will easily wreck your quarterback.
Yeah, totally agree.
Totally agree. The next one that I want to talk about here is at 43 right here, Dad. We talked about this guy, Joe Tippmann, center out of Wisconsin. I knew that he was going to go right here. I didn't know that he was going to go right here, but I knew he was going to go in the second round because if you watch tape on this man, he is a badass dude, and I feel like he doesn't have to play center for you. You could move him out to tackle or guard probably, and it will be just as good. And this is a great pickup for the New York Jets, just such for us that he's now in our division. This guy is also built like a tank. He's really, really big.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. He's the kind of guy you could move him to guard if you want to, but if you put him at center over these next handful of years, he's going to become the best center in the league and go to Pro Bowls every year as a center. Yeah. I mean, because he is so bad. He's badass. He's that kind of center that will hike the ball and then will swing out, and your running back just follows him, and he's just going to run everybody over. So, yeah, he's going to be the center of that offensive line.
Thank you, Gus. We love you too.
So I do think that's a great pick. Next up for me is 45. I had this guy going in the first round, the end of first round, Brian Branch. I could not believe that he fell all the way to the 45th pick. Brian Branch, of course, Alabama kid. Probably going to end up being a safety in the NFL. And I'm guessing that's why he didn't go in the first round. But Detroit is racking up here in the second round. They made some iffy decisions in the first round, but then turn around and get Sam Laporta and then Brian Branch here in the second round. And you're like, wow, Detroit. There you go. Making it up. So it's a pretty good pick.
Yeah, and I'm really, really, really shocked that. And if anyone's shocked, you should know it's me because I had Brian Branch falling at nowhere lower than out of 10. I had him going to 10 to the Philadelphia Eagles. He falls all the way to 45 in the second round to the Detroit Lions. And wow, what can I say outside of Detroit has now got themselves a great safety slash cornerback, and that's definitely what they needed after trading away. Um, shit, I forget his name, the dude that they just drafted a couple of years back. But they traded him away. Now you got Brian Branch to return him. And like I said, Dad, this dude, Brian Branch, is shocking, man. Um, I literally watched this dude run the whole entire field to just knock a pass away. He ran from one side of the field all the way over to the other to knock a pass away, Dad. That should tell you how fast he is. He's not only fast, he's explosive. He can jump in front of you, pick the ball off. He'll be there when the ball meets you and he'll knock it out of your hands. If he doesn't, expect the big ass tackle to come and he's going to rock you. So,
Yeah.
This man, Brian Branch, is a bad dude. So,
yeah. And he's he's a great nickel spot. I can't believe he fell to 45, and Detroit's smart enough to take him here. So that's good.
All right. Well, the next one I see that kind of catches me.
What about your boy? Do you know anything about this Keion White? That New England
No,
took?
I didn't know anything about Keion White until I seen that Daniel Jeremiah was big on him, and I was like, what the hell? Who the hell is this guy? So I went and watched tape on him. Oh, this dude looks badass. He's a dude coming out of Georgia Tech. He was apparently ranked 28th on Daniel Jeremiah's top 150 prospects. He was ranked 28th. So apparently New England got a steal on him here. And yeah, he's a really good edge rusher. He's just like Isaiah Foskey and all the rest of them. If you don't double team him, he's more than likely getting to your quarterback every single time. Yeah, he's really good, really bulky. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3", and he is around the same size weight. He's like 281 or something. So
right.
He looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. The next one I got is my favorite tackle in the second round. Cody Munch is who I'm talking about. Just because he's a ginger, long, red hair, toothless kid, and he just smiles it up, man. He's a big, tough white boy out of North Dakota State, man, and he just looks great. He looks like a mean offensive lineman, and pretty cool. I'm glad. I wish Miami would have took him, but he came off the board 3 spots ahead of Miami's pick. But he's down in Florida, at Tampa Bay, and I think he's gonna do great, dude. He looks like a football player, you know what I'm saying? And just pretty cool. And he's mean, dude. He's mean. He does not quit until the whistle's blown. He will keep going. He's got a high motor, so I liked him. And then, do you got anybody else before 51 in Miami?
No.
All right. I know you're big on Cam Smith. That's who Miami picks with the 51st pick overall, cornerback. Another SEC kid out of South Carolina, Gamecocks. He's a good cornerback. This is definitely a depth piece luxury. It's a luxury piece because they got Ramsey they signed Ramsey in the offseason in free agency. And now, so they have Xavier Howard on one side, Ramsey on the other. And what happened last year was we had the Miami Dolphins had an undrafted free agent named Cooter Kohu, right? And he stepped up and became our starting corner last year as an undrafted free agent. And he really had a great season. And he was projected to be that third cornerback this year. And he was going to be, he's going to play the third corner. And they got this guy. They got Cam Smith, and now him and Kohu they'll go at it, in the off season, and as it ramps up, and they'll compete for that third corner spot. So it's definitely a luxury piece. You didn't need this. It does create depth, And Miami is not lucky with cornerbacks. It seems like they lose multiple cornerbacks every year. So it might be a smart pick. I can name 5 guys I would have rather took right here. But that's what they did. So there you go. It's a good cornerback. You just added more depth. I think this has a lot to do with the signing of Vic Fangio as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He's kind of making a lot of calls and saying, okay, I'll come there and I'll be y'all's defensive coordinator, but you all got to get me better pieces. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he likes those exotic schemes in your defensive backs. You know what I'm saying? He loves them floating safeties and multiple corners and all that craziness. So that's all they're doing is they're getting him a bunch of guys. And Miami's, you're pouring this much this offseason into your defense. I think it's a failure if your defense isn't a top 10 defense, possibly a top 5 defense in the league. It's a failure this year. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, right. And I would definitely agree with you there. I like Cam Sims. I like that. You knew that, but I didn't really get this pick myself. I agree with you. You already got Xavier Howard there. You already, you went and traded for Jalen Ramsey in the offseason. I didn't really understand the pick, but maybe they're using it as a luxury pick, like you was talking about. But
a depth pick.
Yeah. All right, so the next one I see that I like that's kind of weird, but it could turn out to be crucial for this team is at 55 right here. Kansas City Chiefs take Rashard Rice, wide receiver out of SMU. Dad, I've been telling you about how high I am on this man. Kansas City grabs him at 55. This dude is either the nephew or the son. I can't remember which one he is to Jerry Rice. Could you imagine if this dude turns out to be anything like Jerry Rice, Dad? That's fucking scary, dude. You got the best cornerback. The best quarterback in the league now playing with the best wide receiver in the National Football League.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. This is a bit of a stretch. I didn't see him going until the next round. There's Mims. Mims is still on the board here. Hyatt is still on the board here from Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a bit of a reach. But Kansas City must have really liked him. So there you go. They had multiple guys in come and throw the ball around to multiple wide receivers and pick the ones that they liked. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. And then speaking
next up for me, the next one up for me, and we can kind of fly through the rest of these because I'm kind of done. But I only love him because of his name and because he's a great interior offensive lineman. But John Michael Schmitz. Ain't that cool? John Michael Schmitz. I hope, JMS, I hope they put it.
Yeah.
He went 57 center out of Minnesota for the New York Football Giants.
Yeah.
So I think that was a great pick, great name for an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And he's another one of those guys that will be, could be a Pro Bowl center, can also play either guard position. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And the Denver Broncos, Dad, at 63, take your man that you was just talking about, Marvin Mims Jr. Again, this is another dude that dude named off to me, Dad, was Mims and Mingo. I looked up Mims as well. I liked Mingo a little bit better, and he went before Mims did. But wow, both of these players are really good at one-handed catches. They'll go up, fight the ball. They'll take 50-50 balls away from you. They're great at running routes as well and everything like that. So Marvin Mims goes the last pick of the second round to the Denver Broncos here.
Yep. It's a good second round. It's pretty fun. I think a wasted pick by the Miami Dolphins, or a good depth pick by the Miami Dolphins. But you definitely did not fill a need. So there you go.
All right. Well,
there you go. That's 2 rounds. We did it.
I want to talk about here. I got to find where the hell he was picked at, though.
Where you going, third round?
I'm in the third round right now.
Okay. The only 2 guys in the third round that I would even bring up, is Hendon Hooker. A lot of people thought about the
Yep.
next potential starting quarterback. Hendon Hooker went 68 to Detroit. So it looks like Detroit, that you can't find a better place for Hooker to go.
Yeah.
Hooker coming off injury in college. He needs to set for a year anyways. Detroit is definitely not in no hurry. They have a good quarterback that played great last year. There you go. Just let Hooker set for a year, redshirt for a year, and then after that, possibly see what you got. The next steal of the draft for me, I don't know if he's too much of a steal, but another great pick is at 73. The New York Football Giants take Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee. I liked Hooker and Hyatt. I don't know if Hyatt made Hooker look good or if Hooker made Hyatt look good, but all I know is Tennessee was badass and they were a badass combination. And so it's good to see them both go in this round. Almost, one right after another, a few spots in between. But it's kind of cool that I get to see Jalen Hyatt, and he's going to be in the NFL East, so we get to talk about him all next year. So it's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, I 100% agree with you on both of those picks. Those both, in my opinion, were really, really big steals. But the pick that I actually wanted to mention to you happened all the way in the 6th round, and it was 193rd overall. The Washington Commanders dad takes our boy, running back out of Kentucky, Christian Rodriguez Jr. Rodriguez, yes, Dad. Christian Rodriguez goes to the Washington Commanders. We get to talk about him on our podcast constantly, especially me because I cover the Washington Commanders. But yeah, Christian Rodriguez, man, outside of that little bit of off the field issues that he had last season, I thought he was a great running back for Kentucky. He does have a little bit of a fumbling issue. But I think with this pick, this just brings it one way around. I think they are going to get rid of Antonio Gibson at some point in time this season. And I think we could be staring at Brian. We could be staring at Brian Robertson and Christian Rodriguez as the 1-2 punch there in Washington now.
Well, he is a 6th round pick. Let's see how he transitions into the league. But yeah, I totally agree. What about Darnell Washington falling all the way to 93? He was a first-round talent. Everybody had him in a first-round talent. Tight end Darnell Washington going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, nobody could talk about it before he got drafted, but then right after he got drafted, all the reports came out. There's some medical concerns with him about his knee. So I don't know. No one's brought out a bunch of detail, but it is a medical concern that's caused him to fall all the way to 93.
Yeah.
That was a big surprise.
Well, the Nets' biggest surprise to me, I haven't found the pick yet, so I don't know which team he went to. But
what are you talking about? Who are you looking for?
Sexton or Bennett, the quarterback out of Georgia.
Oh, didn't he go in the 4th round?
I don't know. I can't remember. But the point is, this man won the national championship twice in a row and fell down the board.
Stetson Bennett went 128th overall in the 4th round to the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, right here he is. Yeah. Bennett goes 128th overall to the Los Angeles Rams. This is kind of a interesting pick to me here, Dad, because Bennett won the national championship back-to-back years. He won it this past season and the season before at Georgia. You can say the team around him was great, but the man was putting up numbers and there at quarterback. And I think he could potentially give Matthew Stafford a run for his money to be the starting quarterback there in Los Angeles. And I think once Matthew Stafford is out of Los Angeles, I think Stetson or Stetson Bennett, or however the hell you pronounce his first name, will be the starting quarterback there for the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's very possible. I think that's why they picked him to see what they have. You never know. But a big run of quarterbacks went in the fourth round. But
Yep.
in the fourth round, also the that was the Kaylee Ringo cornerback, Georgia.
Yep.
Philadelphia Eagles got another Georgia boy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even into the fourth round, man, the Philadelphia Bulldogs, I guess is what that defense is going to be.
Well, the only other thing that I kind of want to mention to you, we don't have to bring it up on the screen or anything, but I wanted to mention it to you. It was kind of weird to see a run of special teams go off the board in between the third and fourth round. We seen two kickers and one punter go off the board in the third and fourth round. So New
Kicker
England
went in the
took.
third round only for the second time in the NFL ever. It's pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. San Francisco took a kicker in the third round. New England took a kicker in the fourth round and took a punter in the fourth round.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty crazy.
it was kind of weird to see all the special team players go off the board, but yeah, not a big surprise there. All right, Dad. So what I want to do now is we ran over all the individual players that went off the board and kind of surprised us there. I want to go through and over the course of the first two rounds, let's rank the teams how we think that they did. So I think at the top of my board, coming off the first round, I think the team that won the first round has got to be uh Seattle, in my opinion. I think Seattle won it. They went and got Devon Weatherspoon at 5, turned around and got Jetson Smith and Nigba with their pick at 20. And that's going to be really good for them in the long term because they needed a cornerback and a wide receiver there. So
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's a great way to go. But I have to go Philadelphia Eagles with the fall of Nolan Smith to trade up one spot, get Jalen Carter, and then turn around and still get Nolan Smith,
yeah,
all in the first round. And then you get the trenches taken care of with your Alabama kid Steen, offensive tackle in the second round. And then you can even throw in the Illinois kid if you want, the defensive back. But I mean, just the offensive tackle from Alabama and the two prime positions in the first round. You won the first round. You won the first two rounds. You won. You got the two best players in the. You come out of the first round. So yeah, I think it has to be Philadelphia Eagles.
okay, and then yeah, I would put Philadelphia in my second position. They definitely did a great job there. Who would you put in second?
Um, I really do like what you talked about with Seattle. Um, I think the most riskiest was Detroit Lions.
Yeah,
How about that? So
yeah,
I don't know if you wanted to have riskiness as a category, but if you do, Jalen Gibbs and then Jack Campbell, you can even throw in Sam Laporta that came in the second round and Brian Branch. I love the Brian Branch idea. Can't believe
yeah,
he fell that far. That's four good players. If Jack Campbell ends up being a good player, but then again, you didn't take no big guys. You took nobody in
yeah,
the trenches. You took a running back, a linebacker, a tight end, and a cornerback. All four small guys. You didn't take any big men, any linemen. That's a high risk. If that pays off for them, you know what I'm saying? That's going to be
yeah.
pretty damn cool. I like Seattle's picks. Who else had a good first couple of rounds? Wasn't really happy with the Vikings. Um, Deontay Banks and then Michael Smith. Yeah, I think the Giants, they had a good draft. They did they took care of their needs. They went cornerback, offensive line, wide receiver. Well, that was their needs. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so and Deontay Banks is I think a home run for there. So yeah, I don't know. Probably Seattle might be my second favorite, but those are just a couple other ones that I was looking at.
Yeah, and then I don't know. I was seeing people saying that Indianapolis had a really really good draft as well. I really like what Indianapolis did there. They took Anthony Richardson, um No, which I told you, Dad. He had a really really good combine. He was really really good, and his pro day as well. And then I don't know if you've seen Dad or not, but about a day or two before the draft came out, there was a video that came out of Anthony Richardson. He had his feet planted in the ground, and threw the ball 64 yards. And normally you don't see quarterbacks without moving their feet throw the ball that far. So I feel
Right.
like that was a great pick by Indianapolis there. And Jim Irsay, without any question, Dad, has already come out and said that Anthony Richardson will start this season for Indianapolis. So no surprise there.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to, but I think well they're just going to run him. He will probably look a lot like Chicago did last year. You know what I'm saying? Where
Yeah.
really struggling, getting beat up a lot. They need to make sure that offensive line. That's why I do not like their draft. They didn't take an offensive lineman until 108. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Indianapolis used to have the best offensive line, and you kind of have to. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The Julius Brents pick, that's a strong second round pick, but I mean, you could have invested a little bit higher on your offensive line, or got a little bit better weapon than Josh Downs, and in the next round. So I don't know. I don't know. I think their pick was okay, or their draft was okay. Indy's draft was okay. Let's see how Anthony Richardson pans out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
my thing behind them. So yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk about another team that I thought did really great in the first round, and even into the further rounds was New England. New England takes Christian Gonzalez in the first round, takes that Keanu Smith dude in the second round and then as the rounds are going deeper and deeper in here, we're getting further and further away with wide receivers and I was like, okay, when the hell is New England going to take a wide receiver here? Because we know that that's one position New England has needed for a while now, Dad. And I forget what round it is. I think it's about the fifth or sixth round. Um, let's see here.
Sixth round, 187.
Yeah, 187 in the sixth round. Can New England Patriots take Keyshawn Boutte, wide receiver out of LSU? I don't know about you, Dad, but I've watched tape on this man. He looks really, really, really good. And I think he has potential if developed right, which is a long shot for New England. But if developed right, I think Keyshawn Boutte could eventually become a true number one wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he's 5'11, 200 pounds. He was projected to go in the fourth round.
Yeah.
He dropped two more rounds. I wonder why he dropped those two rounds. You know what I'm saying? He was projected to go much higher than he did. He has great size, great speed. Yeah, so I think it's going to be. Yeah, I think he's going to be good there. And I hope I hope New England finally, Bill Belichick finally learned how to draft a wide receiver. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he just needs to wait and draft them later on, and then they'll become good.
Yeah.
So,
And that could be a possibility.
it's always
Yeah.
always a good thing when you draft somebody in the sixth round and they play like a fourth round, third or fourth round guy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. So
Um,
I mean, your all's draft is pretty good. I thought.
yeah.
Kind of wild that you all got a kicker and a punter both in the draft, but you all
Yeah.
had so many damn picks.
Yeah.
That's kind of with that many picks, you can kind of do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. I thought it was pretty
Well,
cool.
one other thing I wanted to mention to you about, and I didn't even know that New England made this pick, and apparently we didn't. We signed him right after the draft was over out of unrestricted or undrafted free agency. But apparently New England signed Malik Cunningham out of Louisville, the quarterback that used to play in Louisville.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been asking on Twitter if Matt Jones has another bad season, should New England turn the keys over to Malik Cunningham? This guy, when you watch tape on him, Dad, he kind of reminds me of a Lamar Jackson. He's he's very, very good at running. He looks like he has the throwing capability, but it might take him a little while to get that in key. But if he can be a Lamar Jackson, we would have a really, really good quarterback there.
Yeah, well, he's undrafted, so let's put the brakes on there. Maybe,
Well,
we'll see how he
nobody's
transitions.
saying that he's going to be a Lamar Jackson. I'm saying in some ways of some of the stuff that he does, he looks like Lamar Jackson. Like he's very good at running like Lamar Jackson was.
Cool. Yeah,
So,
yeah. Yeah, I've seen him play in Louisville a couple times. I liked him.
so that was just one of the things that was being brought up. And then yeah, so I don't know. There was a couple of people that went in this draft that fell down to the second round that I was surprised about. This I can say this draft was probably one of the weirdest ones we've seen in a while.
Yeah, yeah. It was a little bit different than all the other ones. A little bit harder to predict, but still really good. So, still
I
really
really
good.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. Just to let everybody know, on Saturday, I don't know exactly what time, we'll let you know, but next Saturday, the NFL East podcast will be doing their draft recap. We will look at all 8 teams, all of their picks, and kind of talk about needs. And it doesn't end here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, between now and then, there's going to be a lot of undrafted free agents signed.
Yeah.
And then what you got to do is you take a look at the teams and you take a look at, okay, what needs does that fit, or does that feel, and what else does your team need to do? Because it's still free agency, and your team might have to go back into free agency to get somebody else, so to fill a need before they go into their camps. So there you go. That's all I got, man. That was pretty good. That's pretty fun, Brandon. Pretty
Yeah, it
fun.
definitely was. Hang on, let me you son of a bitch. I'm trying to do this for you guys real quick. Okay, fucking forget it. I'm not gonna be able to do it. Anyways, guys, Michael, if you're in here, oh wait, shit, you can't do it because you're not a mod on this channel. But anyways, guys, go check out NFL East podcast. Just type it in on go to YouTube, youtube.com. Type in NFL East podcast like this right here. NFL East podcast. Get that in right there. That will pop our channel up. Make sure you subscribe, and we will see you next Saturday. Anyways, guys, we're out of here. Thank you, Dad, for joining me. Like I said,
awesome.
This draft was very fun, very weird, and very adventurous. I feel like there was teams like the Detroit Lions that was just going off their own script. Some people like Philadelphia that was just getting gifted.
Yeah, I think Detroit took a huge gamble. If it pays off, dude, if it pays off, it's going to be badass.
Yeah.
They just, so.
Well, I mean, and my thing is this, that, okay, I already have Detroit already winning the North this season. And if these picks pay off, that's just going to help solidify them winning the North. So
there you go.
So
there you go.
All right. Anyways, guys, thanks again for joining me, Dad. And we're out of here. Peace.
Love you, Uncle Gus.
Yeah, love you, Uncle Gus.
Peace. I'm out.